Hi, this is Tim Rivers with J6 Patriot News, and I'm on the phone today with veteran J6er Captain Gabriel Garcia. Gabriel served both in the Persian theater as well as in Korea. A couple of years, 15 years, I believe, in the military, and terminated at captain. And Gabe's going to tell us a little bit about why he was involved with the rallies on January 6th and how that turned out for him. And then we're going to ask a few questions how the FBI came to visit him one day. Gabe, thank you very much for being interviewed and welcome to the broadcast. Tell me a little bit about yourself, buddy.
Well, you already mentioned I did 15 years, Army captain. Got out in 2017. Started my own business here in Miami, Florida. A big Trump supporter. I ended up going to the Stop the Steal rally, like a lot of other people across America did, to show support for our president. And pretty much the rest after that was history on what happened.
Gabe, you traveled there by yourself or with other Trump supporters?
No, I met with other Trump supporters that were there from other rallies that I've seen. Went by myself. There's
a whole lot of them there that day. Some estimate there could have been as many as 1.5 to 2 million people in DC that day.
I believe it. No, I mean, you couldn't walk anywhere there, especially down Pennsylvania Avenue.
And we've all seen, now we've all seen a lot of the video that was publicly taken, as well as some of the discovery video that has been making it out during trials and everything. Did what we're seeing on these videos, is that anything like what you saw that day?
To a certain extent, I showed up a little bit later when it happened, but I could tell you from the time I was inside till I left, I didn't experience any violence or didn't see anything out of the ordinary of anyone fighting with Capitol Police or ransacking the place. But then again, I was only within the crypto and the rotunda area.
And now you're not charged with any violence there. You simply be charged with trespass, I believe. Is that right?
No, they actually put me with civil disorder, obstruction of justice. Believe it or not, I'm facing possibly maximum 28 years.
Yeah. The amount of charges that are being bandied about without any cases built behind them to hold them seem to have been a pretty popular tactic with DOJ. And certainly that's not only a violation of due process, but I think most of us would agree it's a violation of our trust of the justice system. And
right.
we kind of all expect to be treated fairly in a court of law. And I think most of us who are listening in on the court cases know that's not happening. Can you tell me a little bit about what happened when the FBI came knocking? Like, when was it, and how did they come to apprehend you that day?
Well, it's about 5:30 in the morning, and I actually woke up because my window was there. So they actually had the ramming tool that they used to break down doors, and once I opened the door, they saw I was there. They just told me, put your hands up right away. There was an armor vehicle outside, kind of like what we use in the military called the MRAP. And next thing I know, I have 4 dots pointed right at my chest.
Was your family in the house, buddy?
Yes, and I have 3 young children, a 3-year-old, as well as a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old daughter, 2 girls and a boy.
Did they enter your house after they arrested you, Gabriel, when they came in and said, you're under arrest? Did they then show you a warrant?
No, they actually left the warrant on top of my desk as they took me away.
But they did present a warrant anyway, though.
Yeah, when they first came in, they didn't even tell me why I was being detained or Miranda rights or anything. All I was told was, I'm sure you know why we're here, and that's all I was told.
So
wasn't until
you didn't receive a Miranda?
Nope, no Miranda warning. Didn't even tell I was being detained until I was put in the back of a car.
How about your house? Did they search your home?
Yes, they did.
And the warrant specified they had a right to do that?
No, the only thing the warrant had was to confiscate my phone.
So this is interesting because this will be the 3rd time I've heard this. So their warrant specified only to confiscate a cell phone or to be able to search your premises until they found a cell phone. Did you turn your phone over to them?
It was on top of my nightstand. They just grabbed it. They told me to sit down once I was handcuffed. While they even searched my air ducts, pretty much tore the place up under the mattress. And they had the phone. And once they did that, well, interesting thing that I noticed on the warrant after I read it, that was under no circumstance or any federal agent supposed to put the phone to my face if it's facial recognition, or am I supposed to tell them what my password is? And they got the phone to my face to open it up.
So you didn't do that willingly. It doesn't sound like.
Nope, correct.
Okay, so they kind of violated their search authority by searching the rest of your house. Did they have the phone in their hands after when they continued to search? Had they actually found what they were warranted to find?
Right, they found what they needed, and they were searching all over the place under my mattress, and all it said, very simple, was confiscate his phone. That was it. No, I didn't have any laptops or anything, no other phones or anything, so I don't know what else they might have been looking for. So I didn't take anything. I didn't have anything with me, no weapons at the time either.
So for those who are listening, this is a direct violation of the Fourth Amendment, your protection against unwarranted search and seizure. They not only searched his home without the authority to do so in the warrant, they also confiscated what they came for, but then they went further and broke the terms of the warrant by holding the defendant down and using his cell phone to unlock it so that they could get access to the data within the phone, something that is, again, another warrantless search or a warrantless action. So those are multiple 4A violations. Tell me what happened with your family during this, please.
Well, they didn't bother them. I begged them, said, they're just kids. There's no one else besides my wife and the kids in the house. And one of the guys said, well, I guess we have what we need. Let's just get going.
Well, that's the first humane thing I've heard. I got to tell you, that is the first instance of these people actually acting human
right.
that I've heard of so far.
That's one thing I could tell you. That was the only thing that I saw that was actually human. I think it's one of the guys that was there was ex-Army veteran. So he kind of said, well, this guy is not dangerous. Doesn't have any warrants or anything prior had any issues with the law. So they kind of did their research on me, but they still came in. Like if it was a war zone or they were coming to get one of the top guys or something like that, I couldn't believe when I walked outside. I don't know about other people, but I had 2 Secret Service agents out of my front door as well.
Well, that's pretty rough. I'm not even going to ask you, how your family feels about this. I'm sure there's quite a bit of PTSD involved in just, having their house rousted and having their dad taken away.
Right, and then with the neighbors and everything, because they used for outer corridor, the local police department here in Miami to pretty much shut down the whole neighborhood when this was taking place. So
they used the local PD and not the sheriff?
Nope, not the sheriff like they're supposed to.
Yeah, that's also a violation. So when you were apprehended, I'm actually going to say when you were abducted, since they violated their warrants and taken in, were you taken before a magistrate of Florida?
Yes, I did see a magistrate of Florida.
Okay, so that's good. At least, and were you? Tell me, how long were you held, Gabriel? What happened after that?
Well, it's about 3.5 days. And the reason was because when I got abducted, like you say, or kidnapped, was that it was on the 20th. So they were doing Biden was being sworn in. So the jail was closed that day. So I had to wait a couple extra days. But once in there, I was treated completely worse than when the feds came to get me. And
where did they put you? In a Miami PD station?
Nope, I went straight to a federal detention center, or a federal jail here in downtown Miami.
So you're a pretrial witness, nonviolent. Basically, they can say whatever they want, that you were this, that, the other, without proof, of course. But then you were basically held for 3.5 days in a federal system jail. This is, again, not normal. You're supposed to be held in a jurisdictional jail until your trial or until you're released after seeing a magistrate. So that's another violation of federal statute.
Right,
Okay.
and that's one thing I was told afterwards. The whole process, the way it went down, it wasn't done correctly. There was no sheriff that came down. It was just straight federal guys. And in Miami-Dade Police Department was just a block away, making sure traffic or no one was getting in or out.
Right.
And that was pretty much it.
So since then, how's it been going for you? And I understand you had basically a pretty thriving business. What's been happening in your life since that day?
Well, I've gotten the threatening phone calls, harassed by the media, local media, even getting the story wrong. Keep getting told that I fought with Capitol Police, which is not true. Another thing was, after I got out of jail a couple of days later, they decided to throw another charge on me, which I didn't have, the obstruction of justice. So I keep asking to this day, I want the proof. Why am I being charged with obstruction of justice? I mean, you have people, what it really meant was during the Kavanaugh hearings that they were screaming and shouting during the process, and no one got charged with obstruction of justice.
Well, the year before this, of course, the Democrats themselves marched into the chamber and sat in the middle of the floor and obstructed the entire proceedings for the entire day, but nobody got charged there either.
There you go. Exactly.
I'm pretty sure that the obstruction of justice charges is unwarranted. You arrived there late. There were no executives in the building at the time you arrived. That's been pretty definitively proven. And there were no activities going on in the chamber since all of the people in the chamber have been evacuated. So how can you obstruct an empty chamber?
That's what I keep saying, just based off the timeline. I keep asking the same question myself. How did I obstruct justice? I don't have no preventative where I was planning on or anything like that, where I said I'm going to go stop Congress today. A lot of people think this was pre-planned. At the end of the day, just like millions that were there, we just decided to go protest and ended up inside there and going off our First Amendment right.
And that's your right. That's the people's house. That's why they call it the people's house.
Right. And they was open that day for business too. Plus, a lot of people don't know or talk about it. There was actually about 6 permits that day to be within the lawn and within the area of the Capitol.
Yeah, we've published the permits. I think I saw them. You may have published them, and then we spread them around a little bit.
Yep.
So it's pretty clear that everything was done exactly the way you're supposed to. And I've already seen all the videos, so I know where the violence started. Now, as you're moving into trial phase, have you got a trial date, Gabriel?
Nope, not at all. I'm actually working right now. It's been 2.5 months. I've been fighting for the motion where I moved the trial.
Yeah, change of venue.
And still, right, and change of venue, and still nothing on that. Same thing with dismissing the obstruction of justice charge, and still nothing back on that as well.
Well, I mean, I can see, if anybody's been listening to the voir dire from the Sussman case, you understand it in DC, it's okay if it's your sister. I don't know any other way to describe it. I mean, people are walking in there, or there are benefits or direct sponsors of AOC and Hillary's campaign, and yet the judge feels that that's a completely unbiased jurist who should be able to sit there and weigh on a Trump supporter on January 6th. It's lunacy. Certainly not a jury of your peers.
No, definitely not. That's why I went ahead and hired Saxby. They're the ones that did my polling, just to show how biased the District of Columbia is.
And you've produced a lot. I mean, I watch these every day. Of course, I'm embedded in Telegram, and I see all the posts that you're bringing up. You're bringing a lot of good data to the forefront. And there have been a lot of pressure being applied by the FBI and other people on people who are basically spreading the truth around. Have you had any pressure not to speak to media or anybody from the authorities?
I did on my last hearing. It was brought up by my judge, and she told my attorney, Aubrey, that you need to tell your client, if you want to have a fair trial here, like you mentioned, to stop talking so much to the media.
And that, of course, that guarantees you a fair trial, because then your case can't
Exactly.
get out, right?
Because I was brought up for the hearing for my change of venue, which lasted about an hour and a half, and she did mention it twice.
Yeah, they're very.
And I have to get my story out, because I mean, we know the media is going to get their story out of how they perceive January 6th. So I have to defend myself too.
Well, of course, every person in this country is warranted their ability to defend themselves, to have their day in court, to have due process, to have constitutional protection from overreach of government and overreach of authority. And I can't say that any of those things have happened for you. And I'm very sorry.
I can mention something else I have that I already know that they're going to subpoena. His name is the guy I offered water to. He's the only Capitol Police I really had interaction with. His name is Lopez. I went on LinkedIn, did some research on him. Kind of find out he was part of, when he lived in California just 4 years back, he was heavily involved with the Democratic Party and helped run some campaigns as well. So this is a witness that I have to face that I know for a fact he could just make something up, and I really don't have too much trust on the system right now.
No, I have to share that for you. And I've asked this question before, so I'll ask it to you. It was actually part of another series. Gabriel, do you think you can find justice in America today?
I believe not. The scales of Lady Justice have tilted towards the left more. And after doing research that I do every day, especially, for example, in the summer of 2020, the George Floyd riots, there's a lot of people, especially out of Portland, that got away with their cases being dismissed just recently for civil disorder. And these are people that fought with Capitol Police, aggravated assault, and federal cases, not local, federal cases. For example, the Portland courthouse. And a lot of these people, their charges got dropped.
Dismissals. I just read a whole stack of them, 40-something people who are actively involved in violent activity and firing and burning buildings and cars, and They just let them walk away.
And these are people with prior convictions. A lot of people from January 6th don't have any prior convictions.
No, they don't at all. I don't see that that's even being considered by the court. They have made up their minds about how they want to do this. FBI agents who were somewhat sympathetic during these raids have actually come down and said, sorry, we didn't want to do that. But Washington said we had to flashbang you. Even though you surrendered and came out of your home, willingly, and gave us your phone willingly. Sorry, we got to search your house, take your wedding ring, and we were told we had to flashbang you when you came out. So this is ridiculous behavior. It's an overreach of authority. It's certainly an abuse of federal jurisdictional authority as for the FBI and DHS, and the use of the Joint Terrorism Task Forces to do these takedowns of American citizens is beyond reprehensible. I just don't have words for it. I've tried to find words for it, but I don't have any word for it. All I want to do is throw up in a garbage can.
That's how I feel every day, because I understand if it goes both ways. I still ask myself every day, how many people from Portland, Seattle, for example, Shad, that they made up that autonomous zone. Literally, they took a piece of America. I don't care if it's 1 block or 10 blocks, you're taking part of the country. And I'm sure a lot of those people that were involved there, they didn't have that visit from the feds where they're knocking down doors or treating them the same way they treated a lot of the January 6th defendants.
You had a business when this all got started. Where's it at now?
Well, I ended up, like we mentioned, selling it, and had to pretty much take a back seat and just focus now on the January 6th defense that I'm putting together with my attorney and trying to help others as well. And
you're doing that. I mean, the amount of encouragement that you give on the channels is very heartwarming to see you helping other folks who are really having a hard time stumbling through some of this. Most of them had never had an issue with justice or police, so they have no idea what to do.
Right. The thing that kind of saved me was I actually studied pre-law, University of Florida, and was thinking of going to law school, and then the war in Iraq kicked off. But I figured I could use whatever knowledge I have and help out as many people as I can.
Well, first of all, thank you for your service, for giving up what could have been an extremely lucrative career to serve your country. That is incredibly admirable, and it's what patriots do.
It's my honor. I would not change that for anything in the world.
So I'm going to open the mic up and just let you give your message to America now. You've told your story. You've told how the FBI has done. We're pretty much all kind of aware of how the court cases have been going and how the judges and juries have been acting. What do you have to say to America now about January 6th, about your condition and about our country's condition?
Well, I feel right now I'll start off by how I feel the state of the country is. I feel we're getting more and more divided. We have a commander-in-chief, which is the divider-in-chief. And instead of bringing us together, I feel like we're just growing more apart. And a lot of trust has been gone on our justice system that we talked about, and that's very fundamental to us. I feel like the left has pretty much thrown away the Constitution and don't give a crap about it or its true meaning or how to apply it. And at the same time, we have a corrupt DOJ that's just going after, still to this day, going after people. I believe yesterday morning they raided someone else's house and still after it. And Biden's using the DOJ as his personal attack or watchdog.
Yeah, I was going to say his pit bull, but pit bulls are actually it's kind of nice animals if you get one, if you know you get one. But yeah, he's weaponized both the FBI, the DHS, and the DOJ, and those systems have to remain inviolate, or Americans lose their trust in the contract between their government and themselves and the social nature. We depend on justice. Justice has to be served to the public satisfaction, or we no longer trust the systems that support it. So how can America help you, Gabriel?
Well, I have my first one was shut down. I have just like so many, the Gives and Go, and it's under Captain Gabriel Garcia. And second time opened it up again, so still going. And that's another thing I like to bring up. I'm sure like many more J6ers, I'm on Telegram. I also have my own channel under Captain Gabriel Garcia. And the reason I'm only on Telegram is because I've been silenced pretty much on every platform, from Facebook, Twitter, even Airbnb. Not that I care about Airbnb, I don't even use it. But even my own bank account kicked me out. Didn't give me a reason, but I already knew why, which was Chase, by the way. So if anyone has Chase,
dump them.
Don't trust them. Yeah, go somewhere else.
Dump them.
Exactly. And pretty much that's it. All I have is Telegram, podcasts that I get to do and get my message out and continue to raise funds, because I do have a private attorney. It is expensive. Anybody else out there that's going through this and knows what I'm talking about. And I'm gonna continue to fight this to the very end. I don't care if it ends up in the Supreme Court on appeals or whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, I know I didn't obstruct justice or civil disorder. I walked in through an open door, was there about 15 minutes, and that's it.
Well, Gabe, again, I want to thank you for being there on January 6th. I think a lot of us wish we could have joined you. The government may view that as the insurrection, but most of us feel November 3rd was the insurrection, and this was the protest against the insurrection, as the Constitution guarantees us. I'm very sorry that you have been persecuted by this administration. I think the message for everybody who's listening is you're next. You just haven't done anything to disturb the panorama yet. So wake the hell up. Gabriel.
You'll be put on no-fly list like myself, and your life will be made a living hell pretty much.
Yep. Social shunning is now the name of the game, it seems, for big corporations as well as for individuals. So, Gabriel, yes, thank you for your interview today. I wish I could say it's a unique story, but I'm afraid it's a carbon copy of what we're hearing from so many families, and having their families pulled out into the neighborhood in the middle of the morning and made to kneel in the yard with all the neighbors watching, and it just goes on and on. The over pressure and brutality of it all is a little mind numbing for people who expect to be treated as American citizens, and even better, as veterans, as loyal veterans who've served this country. To be treated in this manner it's unmentionable. But I appreciate your time. I appreciate your patriotism. Please keep fighting. I know you and I will talk again many times. And
sure thing.
Dia Presso Libera, brother.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Tim, for having me on and letting me share my story.
Amen. God bless you.
All right.